Hey guys, I want to do a quick video on handrails, guardrails, and continuity. First of all, what is the difference between a handrail and a guardrail? Easy way to remember that is a guardrail keeps you from falling off of something. A handrail is just something to hold on to. Okay, so we're on page 14 of the VI. You can see this is a handrail. It is not a guardrail because it's not stopping you from falling off of anything. This down here, this is a guardrail. You can see you're walking up here. This will stop you from falling off of the edge. It has a handrail on top of it, but the guardrail is what's keeping you from falling off. Now, you can have a handrail, a guardrail can also serve as a handrail, but a handrail doesn't necessarily serve as a guardrail. I know it sounds a little confusing, but as you can see here, we have to have a handrail on this stair. So as long as this handrail meets code requirements, meaning it's between 34 and 36 inches tall, it can also serve as your handrail. But this handrail could be 45 inches tall, in which case it doesn't serve as a handrail. It's too tall. It still is a guardrail, but doesn't serve as a handrail. But this one on this side, as long as it's between 34 and 38, it serves as a handrail. I know it's a little confusing, but I'm hoping that can make sense to you. So you need to understand the difference between a guardrail and a handrail. Now let's talk about handrails and continuity. Continuity, you'll see here on page 15, means that you have to be able to run your hand all the way up the handrail when you're walking up a flight of stairs. So it can't stop, or it disrupts the continuity. See, if this rail right here comes up and it stops at this wall, and then it were to pick up again and continue, there would be a break in the handrail. You'd have to let go with your hand and pick up again with your hand. That does not meet code. You have to be able to keep your hand all the way up as you walk up a flight of stairs. Then you hit a landing, now you can let go and you can grab the rail again and keep going up the stairs. So when we talk about continuity, that's what we're talking about. You have to be able to run your hand all the way up as you are walking up a flight of stairs. Now you have a few exceptions, and they're noted here. It can be interrupted, as you see here, by a newel post at a turn and with winders, and also it can be interrupted on your bottom step, which I don't think. Oh, you can see right here. You can see how the lute is over top of the bottom step, so the rail doesn't pass the bottom riser. But that's allowed under continuity. You can find it right here. Okay. You can also do it with box newels and a few other things. Actually, if I flip over to the full VI, that might help just a little bit. I think there's a picture. Shoot, where is it? Come on. Right here. Okay. So here's your bottom post, or your bottom tread. There are a few ways you can stop short of that riser, and that's with a starting newel, a lute, a turnout, or starting easing. Okay. Typically, the code reads that it has to go from riser to riser, top riser to bottom riser, but you have those few exceptions. Okay. Now let's talk about open passages inside guards and handrails. Okay, so, well, not handrails. That was a typo there. Again, remember, handrails don't stop you from falling off a surface. Guardrails do. So here's a guard on an elevated walking platform. You can't allow the passage of a 4-inch sphere. Okay, now a guard on the open side of a stairway, you can't allow the passage of a 4 3/8 sphere. And this little triangular shape down here at the bottom, you can't allow the passage of a 6-inch sphere. So there are 3 different dimensions that you need to remember. 4-inch for platforms like upstairs on your balconies, 4 3/8 on the stairway itself, and if you have an open surface down here, an open triangle, 6 inches. Okay, so just remember those 3 dimensions for your opening limitations. And lastly, when do you have to have a guard versus handrail? Well, a guard, you can see here, a guard is required, blah, 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 and anything that's more than 30 inches. So if you are and an elevated platform that's higher than 30 inches off the ground, you have to have a guard. Remember, a guard stops you from falling off. So that's why you need a guard. Now, you don't always have to have a handrail, or excuse me, a guardrail all the way down the stairs. Here's an example. This handrail comes down and it stops on the third tread up. Why? Because you're less than 30 inches at this point, and you have a handrail on this side going all the way down. So you meet the requirements of a guard, and you also meet the requirements of a handrail. So as long as you have a handrail that's continuous from riser to riser on the flight, and you have a guard for any surface that's more than 30 inches, you meet the code requirements. Thanks.